Federal, states and local government councils share 619.343 billion naira for December 2020. 46th United States President Joe Biden signs executive orders reversing Trump decisions on COVID climate change. Buhari congratulates Biden, looks forward to working with him. Plus, oil sleeps on surprise rise in U.S. crude stocks. Details of this and more on Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. Good to have you join us on the program. The Federal Accounts Allocation Committee (FAC) has shared to the three tiers of government a total sum of 619.343 billion naira as federal allocation for the month of December 2020. From the amount, the federal government received 218.297 billion naira. The states received 178.280 billion naira. The local government councils got 131.792 billion naira, while the oil-producing states received 31.827 billion naira as derivation and cost of collection, transfer and refunds got 59.147 billion naira. The communique issued by the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee at the end of the meeting indicates that the gross revenue available from the value-added tax VAT for December 2020 was 171.358 billion naira as against 158.785 billion naira distributed in the preceding month of November 2020, resulting in an increase of 14.572 billion naira. It is a new day in America as Democrat Joe Biden assumed office as the 46th President of the United States of America. Biden and his Vice President Kamala Harris took the oath of office under a security-tight ceremony attended by very few dignitaries, including the Clintons, the Obamas, and the immediate past Vice President Mike Pence. Joyce Ometu monitored the ceremony that was observed under COVID-19 protocols.
It's a new dawn as Democrat Joe Biden assumes office as the 46th President of the United States of America.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
the
office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help you God.
So help me God.
He took the oath of office under a security-tight ceremony attended by few dignitaries, including the Clintons, Obamas, George Bush, immediate past Vice President Mike Pence, Chief Justice of America, and other justices.
And I pledge this to you. I will be a president for all Americans. All Americans. And I promise you, I will fight as hard for those who did not support me as for those who did.
Ahead of Biden's swearing-in ceremony, the outgone President Donald Trump was honored with 21 gun salutes. Before his departure, Trump wished the incoming administration well, stating that his leadership was the best in all standards. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump left a note for his successor before he left the Oval Office for the last time. The note to the incoming President Joe Biden continues a long-standing tradition between successive presidents. The letters are meant to stay private, but oftentimes get leaked out to the public. On the eve of his inauguration Tuesday, US President Joe Biden led a national memorial in honor of the 400,000 people across the United States who have died in the coronavirus pandemic amid more than 24 million positive cases, both numbers being the highest in the world.
Meanwhile, President Joe Biden has hit the ground running by signing a series of executive orders on his first day in office. These are actions reversing the course on immigration, climate change, racial equity, and the handling of the coronavirus pandemic by the previous administration. The new president signed the orders just hours after taking the oath of office at the Capitol. With the stroke of the pen, Biden ordered a halt to the construction of Trump's U.S.-Mexico border wall, ended the ban on travel from some Muslim-majority countries, declared his intent to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord and the World Health Organization, and revoked the approval of the Keystone XL oil pipeline. The 15 executive actions and 2 directives amounts to an attempt to rewind the last 4 years of federal policies with striking speed. Records show only 2 recent presidents signed executive actions on their first day in office, and each signed just one. But Biden, facing the debilitating coronavirus pandemic, a damaged economy, and a rival electorate, is intent on demonstrating a sense of urgency and competence that he argues has been missing under his Republican predecessor. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Joe Biden on his inauguration as the 46th President of the United States, saying he looks forward to working closely with him. The President, in a release issued by his media assistant, Garba Shehu, welcomed the inauguration of Joe Biden and Senator Kamala Harris as President and Vice President of the United States of America, and expressed hope that their presidency will mark a strong point of cooperation and support for Nigeria as well as the African continent. Buhari, in congratulating the leaders and the entire United States on the successful transition, said it marks an important historical inflection point for democracy as a system of government and for the global community as a whole. He added that Nigeria looks forward to the Biden presidency with great hope and optimism that strengthening of existing cordial relationships, working together to tackle global terrorism, climate change, poverty, and improvement of economic ties and expansion of trade. It is a new day in America as Democrat Joe Biden assumed office as the 46th President of the United States of America, signing 15 executive orders on his first day in office. Now, what is the likely economic path with Nigeria? To discuss Nigeria-U.S. economic relations in this new dispensation, I have joining me Enterprise Ambassador, Chief Economic Strategist in ECOWAS Commission, Professor Ken. Prof, you're welcome to Business.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, history was made yesterday as the 46th President of the United States of America was sworn in. What is your take? His leadership at this time, will it be what the world has been looking for stability in the global markets, more so in a period where the global world is looking towards recovery?
It's the best news the world has had since 2020 to have the restoration of the American leadership, global leadership. And obviously that portends great opportunity for us to grow our trade, not just with Nigeria, but with Africa, and to bring stability in all the economic systems that have been suffering over the 4 years of this man's administration. But I have to say that it's one thing to create an opportunity, it's another thing for others to take the opportunity. Nigeria has a monumental opportunity to close serious deals with America. America and UK are 2 countries that it's not just, don't describe it as cordial relationship. It's something that has a potential to develop into a love affair, bilateral love affair between Nigeria and America.
Okay.
And there's good reason for that. America has AGOA for over 20 years with us. Export everything you have, over 6,500 items, We haven't done much on those. The only crude that we were sending in great quantity was cut down. But there's an opportunity now to start buying, according to the act.
What has been the debilitating factor towards us not actually taking these opportunities and utilizing them well with such an opportunity with AGOA?
There are political things like changing the game on not buying our crude again as part of a general policy. But they shouldn't do that because they've already granted us that concession. Now, the second thing, of course, is to what extent have we proved that we are export competitive in terms of building the quality infrastructure required for our products to meet the standards required to enter. That's the big one. The second one, of course, is that we have a bilateral trade and investment framework agreement with America, between Nigeria and America. And that should be followed by a binational commission to ensure that we really get close to our diaspora in America and then work with Americans. In fact, when the two major things that America did that we must applaud. One is that even though we had issues during Obama administration because of the Leahy law in giving us the correct arms that we needed, but as soon as Trump came, the doors opened and we started getting the ammunition. So they started cooperating more strongly on military support. But don't forget too that American president spoke to French president, and then immediately our president came in. You saw a French president come out and embraced Nigerian neighbors, which are all francophone and Nigeria, and they work together. So they're working together in persecuting the conflict. That was very, 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 very helpful. So we can't discount that. Then, of course, in the other areas like Power Africa, which is something they have, we are beginning to make inroads there. There's so many schemes that they have that we should benefit from. So we need to build on this. Now, Nigeria, about 3 Nigerians, as you are aware, are in the cabinet.
Yes.
Where else will this happen? Tell me which country. We are outside Nigeria. We are Nigerians. 3 of them will be in the cabinet.
With this opportunity that we have, 3 Nigerians in the cabinet already from the takeoff of this administration, what is the body language of Biden for Africa, and particularly Nigeria, aside the disappointments?
Yeah, no, the thing is, we want him, for example, to do the first one, which is the most pressing. Support Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala's nomination. Because that immediately puts Ngozi on WTO, and WTO will now help our Africa Continental Free Trade Area develop properly, because that's very important. There are some signals that show that we need to make sure that goes well with the rest of the global arrangements. So that's very, very important for us. And there are other things like, when the Buhari went to America, immediately he came back, 2 things happened. The American Chamber of Commerce visited us in ECOWAS. I received them with my colleagues, and these are the 10 biggest IT companies. They came, they want to do business. So we took them, after meeting with us in ECOWAS, we took them to meet the Minister for Finance. Somebody. So we went to meet her. So that showed that they want to do business. And I've actually now written to them in the context of our new development plan, because I'm chairing the digital economy, bioeconomy, science, technology, and innovation. So I've written to them, say, look, this is our plan, give us an input. So we're talking. And they now notice that they're now coming back. In 1980, most of them left the country. But now they're coming back. You see, many of these big names, Microsoft, they're all coming back into Nigeria. So that is very important.
Is that to say we're taking advantage of the Silicon Valley?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because don't forget that the key thing Nigeria is contributing to American economy is technology. It's science, technology, innovation, digital technology. Nigerians are very strong in that area. So we should mimic India and follow India to build the same kind of relationship. Secondly, the diaspora remittance is $26 billion. We know that we could get more. But we need to also cultivate, see how Ghana has upstaged Nigeria in relationship with America. America imported 1,000 trucks, military trucks from Ghana. But we have Innocent, we have Leyland, we have so many other car manufacturers in Nigeria. So our government should also push for our products to go in there.
Prof, in 2017, the total trade volume between Nigeria and the United States stood at $9 billion. From then on, what happened to this point? In the last administration, we had some of these exchanges, particularly in military hardware as well as intelligence. Can we build on that?
Of course we can. Of course we can. Of course, though, last year, COVID did so much damage to everything. There was complete stoppage on supply chain there. So we hope that there's going to be more. Definitely there will be more. And I think we need a higher order of interaction with we need our diplomatic mission there should act as an outfit. That is, in other words, encourage the export, and we should have a stronger presence and have the likes of if we have a binational commission now, we should have the Nigerian diaspora in America getting involved. We should also make sure NIDO is also involved so that other diaspora elsewhere will get involved. Then we should begin to look at what Ghana is doing, building diaspora homelands, diaspora cities, encouraging the black Americans to start looking to us here in terms of investment. That can double the investment volume if we consciously do that. There's nothing wrong in having one diaspora city in every city in the country. That is just an industrial, a special area where high class buildings and people will invest. And then of course augmenting it with tourism so that when they come with their family, there's something they could see.
Prof, let's talk about COVID-19. From the inaugural speech of Joe Biden, he's concentrating on healing America, not just politically, courtesy the disunity and all of that, but also tackling issues of COVID-19. And one key thing that has been in the front burner globally is fair distribution of COVID-19 vaccines. Africa is not where it should be, and as though the EU announced pre-procurement of like 270 million doses of these vaccines. Do you see America helping out? Because this is key in revitalizing the battered economy that we have globally, particularly Africa.
Of course, I think America has even given some help to Nigeria in some respect. But I think the Gavi, which Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala chairs, I know they are committed to 20% of our population getting support in vaccine, which translates to about 40 million people. But the limit is about, optimal limit is about 70% of the population. So we have to still deal with 50% of the population. We have to talk about procuring that. Of course, in that respect, we can also continue to seek for help. And I know that America is always, though they have their own problem, and you must understand that, but they should still be able to help Nigeria as well as many other countries. But they have been helping, to be honest. But I think that we are also looking at efficacy of what is being deployed, and then taking it in our own stride. After all, what we have here in Nigeria, the mortality since COVID began is only 1,300, which is just less than half, or even 1/3 of one-day mortality in the United States.
Okay, Prof, looking at business concerns, particularly in the AFCFTA, from the body language of Joe Biden, we understand he might not be quick to attending to individual African countries, but he might be taking advantage of the continental market. We know in the last year of Donald Trump, he signed this free trade zone agreement with Kenya. If this present administration is looking at, okay, dealing with Africa in the continental market, what happens to individual bilateral relations, like some of it that you say we should, as Nigeria, try to take advantage of?
Yeah, I've already mentioned that they signed the bilateral, the TIFA, Trade and Investment Framework Agreement. I think it's around 2014 or 13 or so, because I know I was around working on some part of it, and then also influenced it happening with ECOWAS. So, but that is closer to home when they are not talking about just AGOA. AGOA was for the whole of Africa. Of course, yes. Nigeria was a key beneficiary to it. But they've come closer to do a framework, trade and framework. The thing is, what next are we doing? We don't sit back waiting for America to do. We have to use the framework. And that's why I say that we need to have our binational commission that should get to the teeth of matter and make sure that all the things that we can export, like car, look at what Ghana has done with their own car assembled in Ghana. They don't manufacture cars, but they're being bought by American military. So we should go down that far, push Nigerian products that meet the standards, to America. We have so much to do. Education, we have our best brains in health, e-health. Our best brains are in America. In one city alone in America, we have more doctors, Nigerian doctors, than we have in some states.
And even a number of academics.
Yeah. So in education, e-learning, e-health, e-governance, name it. And Nigeria is working ICT. We're working well with America. We can do.
15 executive orders were signed on the first day in office. Do you see this helping us, particularly lifting the bans on some countries? Africa is also involved.
I think it's a great move, to be honest, because it was a day that America has been waiting for. And he rose to the challenge by signing those executive orders. If anything, it inspired confidence in everybody that he means well. And then also the world is beginning to feel, yeah, America is back into the global economic leadership and moral leadership. So I think it's a good day for democracy because in the end of the day, democracy triumphed in America. And around the world, to show that you could come so close to the precipice and then by providence, you got restored back to and that's a good news.
Okay, thank you so very much, Professor Kenife, for sharing your thoughts with us on the way to go with a new administration in the United States of America.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, moving on, as coronavirus continues to threaten socio-economic activities, Lariat Al-Hassan, a business owner, shares her experience with Musa Abubakar on surviving COVID-19.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
These are trying times. Many businesses are struggling with the COVID-19 pandemic. Lariat Al-Hassan's lack clocks, pens and chemicals is not immune from the pandemic, which has continued to affect lives and livelihoods.
Okay, let's say for every month, we had like an average of between 2 to 4 million naira coming in, but because we were totally, we had to totally shut down, we couldn't we couldn't even get, a penny in most of those months.
She's into paint manufacturing, service and decor, worried with the way the second wave of the pandemic is taking toll on business activities.
The only challenge we have now is the rise in the exchange rate, which is really dealing with us. Like for instance, when I bought some chemicals in December, I just tried to order some same chemicals this January, and the increase is amazing. It has, gone over 200% increase, and I'm wondering, how do I sell? And when I tell my clients, this is what we're facing, this is the increment that is happening, I have to also increase my price, and they don't want to cooperate.
She's amongst the many applicants of the Federal Government Intervention Fund through Central Bank, waiting to access loan.
Of course, it will go a very long way to help, cushion the effects of what we're going through right now.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
And moving on, shares in Asia Pacific rose on Thursday morning trade after stocks on Wall Street sailed to record highs as U.S. President Joe Biden was sworn into office. Bosirable takes it from here.
Global markets are buoyant at the start of Joe Biden's presidency as U.S. equities rose to record highs on Wednesday at the latest batch of strong corporate earnings rolled in. U.S. stock futures were, however, flat in overnight trading on Wednesday after major averages hit record highs on Inauguration Day. Dow Jones rose 24 points, S&P 500 ticked 0.05% higher, and Nasdaq 100 futures rose 0.15%. Shares in Asia rose in Thursday trading after stocks on Wall Street sailed to record highs as U.S. President Joe Biden was sworn into office. The Shanghai Composite in mainland China rose 1%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index was 0.42%. In Japan, the Nikkei rose 0.82%, while the Topix Index advanced 0.64%. European stocks opened higher Thursday amid optimism in U.S. inauguration. London's FTSE opened 39 points at 6,740. Germany's DAX and CAC 40 of France both inched up. Boss Able, Business Express.
This is where we end this edition of Business Express. We value feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. You can also communicate with us on Twitter. The handle is NTA News Now. The hashtag is BizX. Business Express returns Friday by 3 p.m. Be safe out there.